Alright guys, welcome to part 2 of our Troy reaction video. We've taken breaks, we went for a walk just to, stretch the legs from the super long movie, but we are ready and excited to get back into it. So without further ado, let's go.
So this did not go well. So after gathering in Aulis, they decided to go for Troy, which you can see in the scene, but it didn't go that well because they didn't know their own way. Instead, they ended up like 1,000 miles away and started fighting there with another kingdom. And well, basically the first Greek deaths were not on Trojan soil at all. So they went back again because, well, if you don't know the way going there, you definitely know the way going back, apparently. So on the second try, there was no wind. And to get some wind, a human sacrifice was to be made by the leader of the whole crew, which was Agamemnon. And Agamemnon had to sacrifice his own daughter in order to get to Troy. So he actually lured his daughter Iphigenia with the promise that she would be married to Achilles. However, that didn't end so well because he just sacrificed her at the altar so that they could have some wind to go there. Achilles was not very happy with Agamemnon already because, well, he was used as a trap to get his daughter to Aulis because, well, nobody is going somewhere where they'll be sacrificed, I think.
There we go, guys.
Okay, where do we even start?
Right. Which gate is this?
I wish I could tell you, but
Does Troy look like this? Look at these columns. They're very Minoan. Very Minoan columns.
okay, actually, there are some things here that actually are not that bad
No?
in terms of
Some
architecture.
citadel?
For Asian Minor.
And city planning.
But still, the highest top.
Yeah, no, it's
that high.
true.
Beloved cousin, your beauty grows with each new moon. Briseis. The servant of Apollo now.
You can see how they just smashed Briseis and Briseis.
Yeah.
Right? They did. Oh, they did.
Yeah, they did.
In the movie, Briseis is sort of like shown to be a cousin of Hector and Paris, but this is not the way she was described in the Iliad. In the Iliad, she was the daughter of King Myrnes, and he was actually an ally of Troy. So Achilles went on another killing spree, killed Myrnes, and then received Briseis, the daughter, as a war bounty, sort of like. In the movie, Agamemnon takes Briseis from Achilles because there's some weird power struggle between the two guys, and they might see it as like a little peeing contest. But in the Iliad, Agamemnon actually has his own war bride, who's called Chryseis. Yeah, what's in the name? Chryseis was actually the daughter of a priest for Apollo, and the father asked Apollo for revenge. So then Apollo struck the entire Greek camp with the plague. Agamemnon had to give Chryseis back to her father, but he still wanted someone to hold him warm at night, so he took Briseis for his own, and then Achilles got really mad. That is what caused Achilles to stop fighting in the war, even though Briseis was later returned to him completely untouched, but, the man can hold a grudge.
By now, Menelaus has gone to Agamemnon, and Agamemnon has wanted to destroy us for years. Once we're out of the way, he controls the seas.
He controls the sea.
What about
Everybody else, all the other people.
The small traders along the coast.
No.
Weren't the Phoenicians around
sure.
at this
Yeah,
point?
sure. No, he controls the sea.
The sea.
The sea.
The seven seas.
I don't think they knew the 7 seas back then.
Listen, they didn't know a lot of things.
But he
that are-
controls them.
Yeah.
They don't know them, but he controls them.
The Black Sea, the Levantine, the Ionian Sea, the
True.
Aegean Sea.
Yeah.
Fair.
That walk back to the palace was the longest of my life.
All of these statues are
Weird.
weird.
Yep.
I don't know what aesthetic they were trying for.
Me neither.
It was like
Eastern aesthetic.
They were trying to
Yeah.
do Eastern,
Yeah,
Greek
but
at the same
they
time.
they mix like everything together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one on the back left looks like a Koros, but also a Ptolemaic thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why does the Temple of Apollo look like it's already like half in ruins?
Because ruins were ruins back then.
Oh, sorry.
They built them ruined.
But there would have been paint.
Why
There
else
have
would
been
you call them ruins,
decorations.
Vita?
Oh, sorry. How stupid. Classic weapon
Making
montage.
bronze.
But it's not green.
Yeah, it's already green.
It's already
Yeah.
caffeinated.
That's not good. Green is wrong.
Yeah.
No wonder they lost.
Yeah. So onto the topic of weaponry. The weaponry in the movie of Troy is not very accurate. Bronze swords are not so stabby. Instead, the pointed tips you see in the movie, they would have been rounded, and instead were for bashing and hitting people instead of like stabbing them. Because, well, that wouldn't work with a rounded tip. Also, they were known for shattering if struck the wrong way. And in the larger scheme of things, swords were just not used in general, because Greeks preferred spears. Long, not the long ones we know from the phalanx formation, but short ones, which were only like 1 to 2 meters long, and those are stabby. That's about the stabby stuff, so the swords and the spears and all that kind of stuff. But in regards to the shields, metal shields would not have been a thing. Most shields would have been made out of wood and leather. Just like the Vikings used to do, the Greeks did it too. They did it even first. Shields in the Bronze Age were predominantly made out of perishable materials. So that would mean a wooden layer, a wooden core basically with a leather cover, which was really dry and really hard. They also would have been crescent shaped. There are some examples in the movie. They may also have used larger shields, like the figure 8 shields. They did have larger shields, like the one Ajax uses in the movie, but those were all dated a little bit before the Trojan War, so like 16th, 15th century BC instead of 12th century BC.
Okay, these walls. Guys.
Got some issue.
No.
All my life, I've lived by a code.
No one can breach the
And the
walls
code
of
is
Troy.
simple. Honor the gods. Love your...
Like, they also didn't have the turtle formation.
The what?
The turtle from
No. And also the city was never this close to the sea. I mean, the coastline has changed,
Yeah,
but it
but-
was never this close.
But it was closer. I mean, the coastline has grown
True, but
significantly.
not like
Yeah, but that was
city
like,
walls.
Yeah,
sea.
yeah.
No.
That was like 2000 BC. They
Yeah.
were that close.
Yeah.
Not in 1200.
Get him in line!
Like this is pretty nice.
The arrows, they definitely were like
Yeah.
skilled bowmen.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I just don't agree with the pattern of shields, because most of the time it would indicate different men,
Yeah.
and now they're all maxed up.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't happen in real life, I think.
No.
There's the phalanx type thing.
Yeah.
So a note on the fighting. The phalanx formation wasn't even invented then. According to some sources, it was only invented around the 7th or 8th century BCE. Thus, the idea of a structured battle seems nonsense. What's been argued is that this fighting style was more organized by a tribe-like structure. And of course, all the different polises in Greece were organized like tribes. So basically, every polis did their own thing in the battle, and it was all very disorganized. In this way, Achilles, he could do whatever he wanted during the battle anytime he wanted. So if the fighting had been more organized like in a phalanx formation, Achilles would have never been able to call off his men like he does in the fight that we see. Instead, he would have probably been charged for treason or something like that.
I wonder if he took like a power pose seminar before this movie. That's always been my dream job.
Where?
Professional mourner. Just,
She does have a voice though.
right? I feel like I could do that job really well.
Yes, I think you could do
I'm really good
too.
at crime.
But you also have
Especially
to
in
like
2020.
I could be a mourner.
I just spilled my beer.
about these funeral pyres. I mean, it wasn't unheard of in this time to be cremating your dead, but it is not what happened all the time, and especially they wouldn't have been burning all their bodies on big funeral pyres. So the Homeric epics have in fact attributed to the fact that we associate like heroes with cremation because of the stories, but this was not the favored method in the Mycenaean period. Most remains that we find in tombs from this period were not cremated at all, they were buried. In post-Mycenaean times, we get a lot more evidence for cremation. And especially in archaic times, when the Iliad is supposed to be written, we get a lot of cremation evidence. So that would actually fit nicely. This might have been due to Homer sort of adjusting to his audience that will hear his epics, because they were used to seeing cremation around them. So it might appeal to them.
Is this what you left me for?
She's really trying to be emotional without like causing wrinkles in her face. You know?
To ruin the makeup.
I mean, I'm already in the sun. Like, I should be careful.
I don't want to raise my eyebrows.
Fight me! You coward! Fight me! We have a pact. Fight!
So everything you see and hear about Paris in this movie is pretty correct in the Iliad. He's very much a coward. He hides behind his brother in the movie, but in the Iliad, it's actually Aphrodite who protects him in his fight against Menelaus. Orlando Bloom is just really good at playing Paris as a wet noodle.
No, but Ajax isn't supposed to die like this.
I know. It's not supposed to happen.
This is ridiculous.
So let's talk about the death of Ajax, one of my favorite characters actually in the film. So Ajax and Hector do duel quite a bit in the Iliad, but they never actually inflict mortal wounds upon each other. What happened to Ajax was actually after the death of Achilles, Ajax and Odysseus fight the Trojans to get Achilles' body back so they can give him a proper burial, but then they start fighting over Achilles' armor. And there's all this drama about that, and what happens is Ajax just gets really angry and upset, and he goes to kill all these people, but then Athena intervenes and kind of just directs his attention over to some cattle, and he kills all the cattle instead. But then when he realized what he did, he then just sticks his sword in between two rocks and then falls on top of it. And that's how he dies, which is also kind of sad. Poor Ajax.
But she's a priestess.
Like, I don't get it. Kill or sex? Like,
There's a very thin line.
yes.
Some people,
Apparently.
some people are into that.
They
That's
like
their fetish.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
To be fair, training with Achilles all the time, Patroclus should be able to give a pretty good fight.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
And he does,
Smart.
right?
Yeah, he does do well here.
Yeah. I mean, it's Hector.
Yeah.
Oh no, now he knows. Now he knows.
What do you mean? Oh, I know what you mean.
Oh no.
So on the death of Patroclus, in the movie, we see Patroclus deceive Achilles by wearing his armor into battle. But in the Iliad, Patroclus actually convinces Achilles to let him wear his armor and lead the Myrmidon army into battle. So everyone was in on it, and it comes as no surprise to Hector when he kills Patroclus that it was him. Of course, Achilles was still devastated after Patroclus' death, and this is actually what brings him back into the battle. He goes on a really intense killing spree and leads him to the final battle royale versus Hector.
The next time you come here, follow the tunnel. There are no turns, so you can't get lost. Just keep walking.
Also, do you guys live? Are there tunnels under Troy?
Follow the river.
Not
No,
found.
Not
Not
found.
found yet. Damn it,
Yeah.
we would have found them this year.
Yeah.
I mean, that type of structure would have easily
Yeah,
collapsed
collapsed.
Yeah.
with
I
all
know.
the
You would
building
never,
phases afterwards.
you would never be able to know.
Hector! Hector!
Horses.
Oh, I thought you were saying hot dog.
Hold on. Oh Almost.
All right, guys, so that is part 2 of our Archaeologist Reacts to Troy with the Amsterdam Troy project. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to make sure you don't miss the rest of it. Follow the Amsterdam Troy project on all of its socials. Follow me on all of my socials. Big thank you to all of my patrons over on Patreon. If you like the channel and you want to support me, go ahead and just click that link in my description below. You get some really cool behind the scenes content like early access to videos, stickers, hangouts with me, all of that fun stuff. Don't miss out. And as always, stay dirty, my friends.